Warriors, Nicole Andrews here, and thanks for joining us for Eternity Talks. So today we are talking about the Kangen water filtration system and why it's so amazing, and a little bit more about water itself. We have a special guest today, and a lot of people think, water is just water, the properties of water and all that it entails, because that's one of the very first questions I get from clients is, well, what water is the best, Nicole? Or what do I buy? There's alkaline, there's pH water, there's so many choices, so we're so glad to have you. But what do you think of that, though? Is it the same?
Well, when people say to me, like, isn't water just water? The first thing that I think of, and I tell them, okay, would you like to have a drink from the toilet? Right? So, and they're like,
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought having the reverse osmosis water filter was the best. I started getting my water from Whole Foods, and that tasted the best. People think Iceland spring water is the best, or distilled water. And so could you give us a little bit of background between like the different kinds of water?
Sure.
Okay.
So what a lot of people focus on when it comes to water is the purity, right?
Right.
So reverse osmosis and distillation and even filtration do take out the chemicals in the water, some of them, not all of them. So people focus on the purity. But what they don't know is that when all those chemicals come out, and the chlorine and all that comes out of the water, it leaves the water in a very dead state.
This is like distilled water, like where they take everything out.
Correct.
Okay.
So with distilled water, it's actually something I used to drink many, many years ago, interestingly enough. When they
You thought it was the best then?
I did. Somebody...
That's why we do these videos.
Correct. So with distillation, all of the minerals are removed, right? Okay. Same thing with reverse osmosis, all the minerals are removed.
Really the same thing with that.
Correct. Yeah. And yes, exactly. So
what about spring water? Because I know a lot of people think, well, then spring water must be the best.
The thing with spring water is that you typically don't go to a spring to fill up your water bottle and drink it. You're not typically hanging out by a spring.
Maybe, yeah, if we were.
It was, exactly. Let's say they get it from a spring and they put it in a bottle and then they bring it to the grocery store and you buy it. What happens is it's been sitting in a bottle. My understanding is it could be up to a year.
Wow. All of the chemicals in the water, dioxins and stuff, they really have the propensity to mess up our hormones. And I know my mom, she goes through bottles and bottles of the Zephyr Hills, doesn't think anything of it, because like as long as I get my water in.
I look into it, and there's known to be thousands of chemicals in plastic, and yes, you're right, the endocrine disruptors. But here's the key thing. When water is put in a bottle, and it's got a cap on it, what happens is the same thing that happens, like if you go to a fresh garden and you pick a tomato, let's say off the vine,
right.
The minute you pick that tomato, it's actually starting to die, right?
Yeah,
so
it's connected to the force.
Later, you can't, right, exactly, the life force. So a couple weeks later, you can't eat the tomato because it's rotten, right? Same thing kind of happens with the water. That's the issue with drinking water that's bottled. It beats the alternative. Obviously, it's been cleaned, to whatever degree.
Right.
But it's got properties that are like acidity.
Nowadays, it seems like the spring water too, there's concerns about the chemicals from the fertilizers underground and running into the springs.
There is a documentary, if you can still find it, called Tact, T-A-C-T,
good,
on that type of thing.
Watch that.
And that detail.
And it's not a keg, guys. We're not talking about kegs here. I've been wanting this filter system forever, just because I know some of the properties, and I got my model here, my K8 model, ready to go. And one of the things that I was surprised about, because I was chronically dehydrated from a child, I can never really get enough water. No matter how much water I drink, I feel like my cells are always thirsty. So I will keep you posted on my transformation. Can you name how it's different, like some of the properties that make it so special?
Sure. So what happens with this machine is that it actually transforms your tap water, right? So it first sends it through a high-grade filter, but then it's actually what's called an ionizer. So what happens, it goes through what's called an electrolysis process. So there's 8 high-quality titanium plates, and when the water goes over, it kind of like splits the water. There's more detail.
Right.
And it splits it into acid and alkaline, right? With nothing added. Sometimes you see them advertised as alkaline in the stores.
Sure.
That's because they're chemically treated.
They're treated to be alkaline, not split.
Right.
And the other particles go out.
This case, what
so
happens
much
is
water.
So the byproduct of this electrolysis process is really cool because what you're left with is water that's alkaline, right? And water that's really rich in antioxidants because it becomes what the technical term electrolyzed reduced water, right? It just doesn't take those minerals out, whereas like a reverse osmosis or distillation process takes minerals out. This just doesn't.
And where was this developed?
It's Japan.
They use it a lot in Japan there.
It's been around in Japan for, gosh, like 45 plus years.
And that's where people seem to have, there's a lot of blue zones in Japan. So where people live the longest and water is the life force. I think there's no better kickoff to these eternity talks and interviews than talking about the foundation of life, guys, what we need on a daily basis, what we need the most of, and why not start there? Why not start your day off with the best kind of water that really fuels the cells? And we are so grateful to have you with us, and thank you for your expertise during this time and on this subject. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave comments and tell us how you like this video. Give us a thumbs up, definitely subscribe and share. So we hope to see you next time on Eternity Talks. Everything in the body is chemistry, right? So this is great. Can you test the water then to make sure?
What you'll find is that it's going to look like this, right, in the alkaline. Whereas when I test bottled waters or just regular filtered water, reverse osmosis distilled, we show up in these ranges here.
A little more acidic.
Yeah, sodas and things like that.
Would it be possible to invest in such a system even if you're, in between?
So here's a really cool thing. It's portable.
That's so cool.
I cannot leave home without it. I bring it to every hotel room that I
go to. Is this the way it looks? This is
the way it looks. So I'm sure you'll let them know once we get it connected. But
yeah, we're going to do that in another.
It is portable.
All technicalities.
Yeah.
But there's so many. If you go on Amazon too, and you'll see the air, water, life filter, alkalized water filter. Are these claims that are being made by the companies? Because I know, because this has been out for 50 years, it's considered the gold standard when it comes to a medical grade filter or a filter that has more benefits than average.
It's not just a filter, it's an ionizer. And these other types of things that you're talking about, they're not. Most of them are filtration systems. We've tested some of them, and unfortunately they still come up acidic, right, in the yellow range over here. Because they're really just filtering out the chemicals, as we were talking about. This particular machine has what's called the Water Quality Association Gold Seal Certificate. So,
very nice.
Yes, and a few ISO certifications as well, which are
so excited. Can't get the machine on Amazon. Everything else we can get on Amazon, it seems like.
Food, kind of just like put the water in a cup and test it, and then
it would make or you can do yourself at home, and you can get the food grade drops to test pH and test your own water and comment with that.
You say expensive, it's because, to be honest, to some people, it's not. Like, I know people who've said to me, I paid $10,000 for my da-da-da-da-da, like, and it was reverse osmosis or some kind of filtration system in the house.
How much the alkaline water is? My soon-to-be ex-husband yelling at me for, how much did you spend on that bottle of water?
It's chemically treated.
And it's chemically treated to be alkaline.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that either, and this is what I do, but, having a water expert.
Right. I don't know if they're gonna.
That was amazing.
Using properties of water, that's totally different.
That's it.
Okay, so
this is the beginning.
Oh, this is the beginning. Okay,
this is all the beginning. So why would somebody want to make the switch to a system as advanced as this and put the investment in? Because it is an investment.
Sure. So there's a couple reasons. So number one, you don't have to be an environmental activist to know that these plastic bottles are overtaking the landfills. There's beyond
totally affecting
in the ocean.
Right.
That's just from an environmental standpoint. One piece that I did not mention about this machine is that it has 7 different types of water. Several of them, I won't get into too much detail, but several of them are for cleaning and for like facial. Like one of them has an astringent quality, so you can use it to tone your, like for instead of like a toner that you would buy.
Instead of the toners that you spray on.
There's one that you can clean your fruits and vegetables in. I use it instead of laundry detergents. So you're talking about replacing, if you want to. It's a choice. You don't even have to buy those chemical cleaners anymore because there's different waters on the device that will help you to do that.
Okay, so you program it to there's buttons. What you're wanting to do. 7 different waters.
Right. It's more than just great drinking water. It's more than just great hydration. Obviously, I would say that because it has these unique properties of the antioxidants and the alkalinity, keep the minerals in, right?
The
Whereas the other ones
cells.
they say the difference between a grape and a raisin is the water, right? Exactly. So you
the
want to stay
makeup.
hydrated. So
Great.
you want it to be able to get into your cells.
I feel like it was good.
Okay, good. Yeah.